Welcome! Last year I did a video about National Album Day of 2023. I just did a video that previewed everything that was going to go on sale on last year's event, and also let you know which albums I'd be picking up. And last year there was two that I pre-ordered that came on or around National Album Day, and then there ended up being a couple more that I did end up getting months later on a discount. So National Album Day is back. The full lineup was announced today. The date I'm recording this video is the 12th of September, but this video will be coming out about a month after, on the 11th of October, I think. So as you're watching this year's National Album Day is 8 days away on Saturday the 19th of October. And what National Album Day is generally reissues of albums. It's a UK exclusive event, a bit like a kind of British version of Record Store Day. I know we get Record Store Day here in the UK, but this one is just UK exclusive. And there's always a theme, and this year's theme, last year's was the 1990s by the way, this year's theme is Great British Groups. So everything that's getting reissued on vinyl for this event is by a British artist, or most likely a band or group of some sort. So as I did last year, I'm going to go through them all. I'm going to try and keep my opinions and everything pretty short so that this video doesn't go on too long. If there's any changes to the lineup between me recording this and you watching it, then I will put some notes at the top of the description just to let you know if anything's changed or if there's been any additions or removals of titles here. But the full list has been announced, so let's get started and I'll let you know which of these I'm interested in. I've had a very brief look, but this is the first time that I'm going to be having a real sort of in-depth look at all the titles. So available to pre-order as of today, me recording this, but they'll be out on Saturday the 19th. First up is the self-titled debut from All Saints, and that's coming out on green vinyl. That would have originally been released in, I think, 1998, rings a bell. And that's coming out on green vinyl. I'm not going to get that. Possibly on a big discount. I would pick it up months down the line, but no, not interested in it at the moment. Next up is Shotter's Nation by Baby Shambles. This was originally out in 2007 and it's been reissued for NAD on 1LP clear vinyl. Don't like Baby Shambles, not interested in the Libertines or anything Pete Doherty does, so no, that's a simple and easy no for me. Alright then, here's one that I've no idea what it is, and there was a couple like that last year. This one is from a group called Daughter, and it's music from Before the Storm. It's coming out on recycled yellow vinyl, and it was previously only available as an RSD release. Doesn't say anything about when it originally came out. Looks like it's something that might have been fairly recent anyway. Can't say anything about that, don't know who they are. Next is the 30th anniversary version of Homegrown by Dodgy. So Dodgy were a Britpop trio in the 90s, obviously. This will have originally come out in 1994, given that this is a 30th anniversary edition. I would have said it was a little bit later than that, but that's probably my memory playing tricks on me. Doesn't say. I think it's on coloured vinyl, looking at the hype sticker on it. But it doesn't give any information as to what colour. I was never that bothered about Dodgy. They weren't awful, but good enough, which I can't remember if that's on that album, or I get the feeling that was a few years later. That was so overplayed, that song. Anyway, I'm trying not to spend too long giving opinions and reminiscing about some of these. We get to the first one that I'm definitely going to be pre-ordering. It's the 20th anniversary of Out of Nothing by Embrace. Now, this is the one Embrace album, and I mentioned this in a previous Records Roundup not too long ago, that I need to complete the Embrace studio albums collection. It's getting reissued, as I suspected it probably would at some point this year, as they're also touring this album to celebrate its 20th anniversary. It got to #1 in 2004. It's on Red and Black Splatter, coming out in 8 days' time. So yes, by the time you're watching this, I will have pre-ordered that promptly. And also, as I've mentioned in a previous video, there's a live version coming out that I pre-ordered a while ago. So moving on to Gomez, How We Operate. This is Gomez's 5th studio album. I do have their first 2 on mini disc, and this one is being reissued on double amber translucent vinyl. Ooh. Never heard the album. Gomez, like I say, I've got a couple of mini discs, but that's good enough for me. On we go to Idlewild and their album Warnings/Promises. Doesn't say what year it first came out, but it was their 4th album, and it's coming out for NAD on red vinyl. Quite like Idlewild. I used to have one of their singles on CD when I was younger, but I don't think this is one that I'm going to take a punt on, really. Next one is Jeff Wayne, and he isn't a band, but obviously it's Jeff Wayne and a lot of musicians and an orchestra, I suppose, because this is Jeff Wayne's musical version of the War of the Worlds, Ulla Dubula, the remix album. Right, okay. Interesting title, this. It's coming out on yellow and orange vinyl, presumably on 2 discs. It's a collection of remixes of tracks from the classic The War of the Worlds album. It's not been available on vinyl previously. The 16-track collection features remixes by Apollo 440, N-Trance and Todd Terry. I don't have the War of the Worlds album. I know a lot of people really like that album and, you know, the concept behind it. I quite like the idea of this. This is one that I'm not going to pre-order it, but if down the line I see this going cheap somewhere, I'd probably take a punt, just because I'm into dance music. I like some of these artists like Apollo 440 and N-Trance, certainly. So I'd be interested to listen to that, to be honest. So that's a kind of very slight maybe for me down the line. Judas Priest and British Steel. That was originally released in April 1980. It's their 6th album, and it's coming out on black and white spatter vinyl. No, not for me. Long Pigs, The Sun Is Off and Out. I think that was their debut, yes, according to the hype sticker, and it was out in 1996. I liked Long Pigs. I never had this album. I did have their single, On and On, and I think the other single, or one of the other singles that they released, She Said, I think, I thought was pretty good as well. This is one, a bit like Baby Bird and Ugly Beautiful last year. I ended up picking that up earlier this year on a discount. I liked it and I wanted it because I like the singles, but I wasn't desperate for it until I could get it for cheaper. So Long Pigs is kind of one of those for me. Then we have Mike and the Mechanics, Living Years, their sophomore album, and it says it's set to be reissued on colour vinyl for National Album Day. Limited edition black and grey marble effect, 180 gram, and it's released ahead of their 2025 UK tour, Looking Back, Living the Years. Yeah, Mike the Mechanics, not for me, no. Then, there's a load of bump for this, but I'm not going to read it all, so don't worry. This is Oyster Band and June Tabor with Freedom and Rain. Now, they ring a very vague bell. Looks like it's a folk album. They're a folk act. And this was originally released in 1990. I didn't think it'd be that old an album, to be honest. This has been reissued in Clear and Black Smoke LP. Got to #1 on the UK folk chart. I didn't realise there was such a thing. Nah. It's something, as a kind of blind buy, if it was absolutely dirt cheap, then yeah, I dare say I'd be glad to pick it up, but I'm not going to pay full price for something that I don't know if I'll like it or not. Oh, and that's also coming out on CD. There is a few CDs dotted around here in this list, but I'm going to mainly focus on the vinyl reissues here, obviously. Next album is Prefab Sprout with Jordan the Comeback, and this is being released on translucent blue and red vinyl. It's considered the most ambitious album in the Prefab Sprout catalogue. I don't really like Prefab Sprout. Even that one big hit they had, The King of Rock and Roll, I've got that right, haven't I? Yeah, the king of rock and roll. Back in, what was it, the late 80s or very early 90s. It got on my nerves after a couple of plays, that. Not saying they were a bad band or someone I maybe couldn't get into a little bit, but I don't want to try, to be honest. Oh God, here's one that's a definite no for me. It's the eponymous album from Scouting for Girls. Dreadful, dreadful pop indie rubbish from the 2000s. This, I know I'm getting on my soapbox when I said I wouldn't for this. It's been reissued on orange and black marble vinyl. I mean, if you like this sort of thing, I mean, bloody hell, you can watch any episode of Gavin and Stacey, I think, from around a similar period, and you'd hear Scouting for Girls as part of the soundtrack. Oh, it's got She's So Lovely on it. No. Right, moving swiftly on. Now then, we've got 2 vinyl versions and a CD version of the same album here from Shaq. We've got HMS Fable, and it's coming out on black vinyl and also light blue. It's their 1999 masterpiece, issued for the first time on vinyl on its 25th anniversary. So yeah, out on light blue, and then there's also some bump about the black LP and also the CD. I've heard good things about that album, but it's not one that I want to take a punt on at the moment. Just to get back to it, as I had to answer the door to the postman. That's going to be a special unboxing that I'm going to be recording later today, but you'll see on the channel in probably a week's time. Anyway, getting back to National Album Day 24. Simple Minds Big Music 10th anniversary, so presumably an album that would have come out in 2014. Simple Minds, some of their tracks I like, other times they kind of seem like a sort of U2 tribute act, really. Not one for me. So far, the lineup isn't brilliant for me personally, but your mileage may well vary. You might think, oh, there's some good stuff here. Simply Red and Simplified. There again, I'm not sure if it's out on coloured vinyl or not. Oh, it is, sorry, I didn't see that. It's out on silver, and it's going to be a gatefold sleeve as well. Doesn't say what anniversary. I'd guess it's either a 10 or 20th anniversary, but I don't honestly know, and I don't really care. Slowdive and Slowdive. This is coming out on Apple Opaque vinyl. Shoegaze outfit Slowdive, and this was from 2016 and their first album in over 2 decades. Some shoegaze I quite like, but no, not another one for me, this. Next up is an album I do own, so I don't want to double up on it, but it's a nice edition, certainly. It's Dogman Star by Suede. It's the 30th anniversary. That's getting a half-speed master reissue that might have already come out by the time this video's out. I can't honestly remember. I didn't know I was going to get a picture disc reissue for National Album Day, so that's quite nice, but I'm not going to pick this up. It's not my favourite Suede album, to be honest. They've done better, in my opinion, although there's a couple of really strong singles from it. I already own the album. If I didn't, then I'd be tempted to get that, but no, I'm saying no to Suede this time. Next is one for all you 70s fans here, because it's T-Rex and The Slider. I'm not a big T-Rex expert. I quite like a lot of their singles, so other people watching this would be able to tell me more about this than I can tell you. But what I can tell you, it's coming out on 140 gram translucent red vinyl. Then we have Everything Changes, the 30th anniversary edition by Take That, and this is coming out on Zoetrope picture disc. So Everything Changes would have been their second album, I think, Take That. First time on vinyl since its original release in '93. Includes singles such as Relight My Fire and Pray. It's also going to be available on black vinyl at the same time, according to the bump here. Take That, no, I'm not a fan. Some of their stuff, I kind of like some of their later, modern era stuff, more than their, strictly boy band, teenage girls screaming and wetting the pants over era. But, I'm not going to get that. Another self-titled or eponymous album here, and a 60th anniversary one. This is The Animals, and this is coming out on yellow vinyl. It's never been reissued on vinyl before, amazingly enough. and it's got House of the Rising Sun added to the track list. It's their self-titled debut album, by the way. Possibly pick it up on sale, but otherwise, no, I'm not interested. The Fall, Hex Induction Hour. I don't like The Fall. They feel like one of those bands where if you're into indie music and alternative stuff, then you really need to be investigating them. But every time I've tried listening to The Fall, and I've listened to them a fair bit because of hearing them on John Peel over the years, but I just can't get into them. It's Mark E. Smith. Even his duet with Spiral Carpets, I thought he ruined it, to be honest. Anyway, double black vinyl this, and apparently this came out originally in 1982. It was their 4th album. As you can probably tell, I'm not interested in that one. Here's another one that I already own, although I own it on mini disc, and quite appropriately, it's coming out this month during Lightning Seeds month here on my channel. This is Jollification. Now, the Lightning Seeds have had most of their albums, with the exception of their last couple, I think, reissued over the past couple of months or so. But one that wasn't announced with all the others was Jollification, and I did wonder why. I should have realised they were saving it for National Album Day. Probably their best-selling studio album, this, their 3rd one. It says Jump Into the Blue vinyl. Yeah, good album. I've talked about this on the channel very recently, so I'm not going to speak about it any longer other than to say go and watch my review of the album on Mini Disc Monday for Lightning Seeds month. Right, we go on. There's a lot to get through. There was last year, so I'm just scrolling a bit further down, and we've got plenty to go. But thank you for bearing with me. I hope this is informative for you and interesting. Next one is The Proclaimers. This is The Story. This is the debut album from The Proclaimers. I know Richard McCook's a big Proclaimers fan. Presumably he's got this album when it originally came out. Whether he'd want this edition, it's nice looking light blue colour, and it's got Letter from America on it. Not one for me, that. Another one that I've got the Mo-Fi edition of this, Floodland by Sisters of Mercy, and it's coming out on Black Ice Galaxy vinyl. Very good album this, and the Mo-Fi version sounds really good, but I don't want to double up, obviously. And the Ice Galaxy looks quite interesting as well. It kind of looks like a black and grey spatter to me, but nice looking disc there. The Specials and the Specials, so some quite big hitters regarding albums and artists for this year's National Album Day. It's their debut album. It's on limited edition crystal clear vinyl, possibly one for Nick's Vinyl Butty, him being the resident vinyl community ska and two-tone expert, but whether he'll want to double up or maybe even triple up, I don't know. Let us know in the comments, Nick. I'd possibly get that on sale, but I wouldn't want to pay full price for it. The only one that I'm definitely pre-ordering instantly is Embrace so far. The Stranglers, La Folie, and this looks like it's coming out on pink vinyl, translucent pink according to this, and that was their 6th album, originally released in 1981. Quite like the Stranglers, some of their singles, but not an album that I'd be in a rush to pick up. The Subways, Money and Celebrity. This is coming out on red and white split vinyl. It was originally released in 2011, and it's the 3rd studio album by the Powerhouse Trio. Subways, yeah, there again, they ring a vague bell, and I may have heard one or two of their singles somewhere, but can't think who they are, and if I've heard anything of theirs right now, so we'll move on. The View, Cheeky for a Reason. Another group who I feel like I should know more, but I don't. It's their 4th album, originally released in 2012. Does it say? Oh yeah, it's on Clear and Black Smoke vinyl. No idea, really. There again. There's some big albums, some big artists here, but then there's some that I'm just not familiar with at all. Next up, The Waterboys, Fisherman's Blues. I quite like The Waterboys, actually. This is one I wouldn't want to get it right now and pay full price, but I'd possibly pick this up on a discount down the road a piece. It's on limited yellow matte custard coloured vinyl. That reminds me of something. It's the 4th album by the Waterboys, and it was a marked shift in sound from the preceding This Is the Sea. Okay. Travis, The Man Who, the 25th anniversary edition. I have this album on mini disc, not interested in owning it on vinyl. I'll be listening to this again at some point because I'll want to review it for Mini Disc Monday. From what I remember, it's been some years since I last heard it. I like the album, I don't love it. I don't really want to say much else because I might listen to it again in the near future and think it's brilliant, or I might think it's cack. But I'm not going to buy this vinyl reissue regardless. It's going to be pressed on white vinyl. Utah Saints and Utah Saints. This is also coming out on CD. 2LP. Is it just black vinyl? Possibly. This one is tempting me a little bit. I do like Utah Saints. I like their singles, Something Good, What Can You Do For Me. They did some good remixes for other artists as well. This one, I don't think I'll be pre-ordering it to get it for or around National Album Day, but I'll certainly look out for this being reduced in the weeks and months to come. The Wedding Present, Bizarro, on Orange Bio vinyl, and this was the Wedding Present's 2nd studio album, originally released in October 1989. This releases on bio vinyl, a more environmentally sustainable product as it doesn't contain any petroleum content. World Party, Goodbye Jumbo. First time on white vinyl for World Party's best-selling 2nd album, Goodbye Jumbo. The picture that they use it on the sides makes it look like a kind of multicoloured spatter edition. I don't know if that's a mistake or what. Not for me, no. Trying to get through these a bit quicker, honestly. Culture Club, Kissing to Be Clever, kind of has a bit of bump about the group, but doesn't really say what sort of edition it is. Presumably it's some sort of colour edition again. Oh, now Culture Club and the rest of these ones that you can't pre-order until they actually go on sale in store at your preferred record shop on Saturday the 19th of October. So yeah, I should have made that clear before I started with this, but it was just the list that I'm using. It was difficult to catch that information straight away. So all these, you can't pre-order them apparently, but they'll be out for you to buy in 8 days. Making Movies, Dire Straits. This is a half-speed mastered at Abbey Road edition. It's got the Obi strip that comes with a lot of those editions. Don't think it's coloured vinyl. No, I've never been that bothered about Dire Straits myself. Here's an album that I did have back in the day on CD, and I'll still like a couple of the singles off it, but really I kind of fell for the hype really, and I went off them pretty quick. It's Sigh No More, the debut album from Mumford & Sons. Came out in 2007, got to number 2 in the UK and the US, and yeah, it was kind of that sort of indie folk, weren't it? Yeah, Little Lion Man and Winter Winds were 2 good singles, but the rest of the album, I kind of struggled with it, and I went off them, and I don't own the album anymore. Don't still have the CD, I don't want it on vinyl. Susie and the Banshees, Through the Looking Glass, and all it says about is info to come, so can't say anything else other than it is getting a reissue on the 19th. Soul to Soul Club Classics Volume 1. This is coming out in a picture disc edition featuring the group's signature Funky Dread logo. Nice. I do like a picture disc. This one, if it's on sale, might pick it up, but not desperate. Spice Girls and Spice. Now, I'll be reviewing the Spice Girls fairly soon for Mini Disc Monday, and this album, to be precise. I've got their 3 studio albums all on MD. So I'm not going to double up. I'm not going to say much else about this other than it's coming out on clear vinyl. It has had 1 or 2 reissues over the years anyway. Certainly a picture disc and probably a different colour version over the last 5+ years, I think. Right, moving on. How many more have we got to go? Oh, not too many more now. So this video will be ending at some point before the rest of our lives. Oh dear, here's one that I wouldn't want to get. Just Enough Education to Perform by Stereophonics. I've spoke a bit about Stereophonics on live streams and things like that before. I can't get on board with them, and I think this era of theirs was probably their nadir, really. Have a Nice Day. It's kind of like the Good Enough by Dodgy of, 5 years later, or whenever this came out, I don't know. It was the 4th biggest selling album in the UK in 2001. I know some people do like Stereophonics. Admittedly, there's one or two of their tracks that I think are pleasant enough or decent enough, but Have a Nice Day is utter dross, and the fact that it was a massive radio hit, a massive single from this album, just puts me off ever wanting to own or listen to Just Enough Education to Perform. Sugababes, Angels with Dirty Faces. This was originally out in 2002. I don't think it says anything about the type of LP, the type of disc. No, not for me. I don't mind Sugababes or a bit of their stuff, but don't want it. Chemical Brothers, Exit Planet Dust. This was their debut album in the summer of 1995. So it's not really giving a lot of information about type of vinyl variants here now. Oh, it is, sorry. So I keep missing it. There's a lot of stuff to read, and I'm not reading any of this thoroughly because I'm trying to keep this video as nippy as possible. But it's coming out on 140 gram red and gold coloured double vinyl. I do have a Chemical Brothers album on mini disc, Surrender I think it is, and that fits nicely in my New Order related collection because it's got Bernard Sumner on one of the tracks. But I don't think I'm going to attempt to pick up Exit Planet Dust. The self-titled album from the La's, I do own this album on reissued vinyl. It's coming out on Coke Bottle Green Wax. Great album, don't want another copy, so that's all I'll say about it, but it is a recommendation if you don't own it. Here's one that's a certain possible for me because I do collect this group. The Rolling Stones, Get Your Ya-Ya's Out. I think this originally came out in 1970. This one is, it says it's coming out on coloured vinyl, and it includes an archival lithograph print featuring film strips from the concert. I've got enough Rolling Stones live, that's the thing. I've got the El Macambo box set some months back, which is brilliant by the way, and then I bought the live at, what was it, the little venue in New York, the mini album for Record Store Day this year. I've forgotten the name of the venue, hence the name of the title as well. But I've got that, which was more of an impulse purchase, but it was half price from what it originally was on Record Store Day, so I couldn't really resist. You know, that's enough Stones live for me, really. But this does tempt me a bit, simply because I know this is quite an iconic live album. It's a certain maybe for me, this one. Only 2 more to go now, I think. Yep. The Slits and Cut. The Slits were an all-female punk band, I believe. Ari Up on vocals. She was Johnny Rotten's stepdaughter, I believe. It's coming out on orange vinyl. Very explicit sleeve. If I've managed to put a picture up of it, then you'll see what I mean. Nah. There'll be some punk fans I know who will probably be quite keen on this, but not for me. And finally, it's another one that I own, Labour of Love by UB40. I have this on mini disc. I've reviewed it for Mini Disc Monday. Really good album. I do like the Labour of Love series, but I don't want to double up with UB40. It's going to come out on blue vinyl, by the way. So there we go. That is all your albums being reissued for National Album Day. Hope that you've found this informative. Thank you all for watching, and enjoy your National Album Day, all you British-based music and record collectors here who are going to go and pick up some of this stuff, either pre-order it, which you might have done already, or for the last however many it was since Culture Club all the way up to UB40. That's stuff that you'll be able to pick up from next Saturday onwards. So special thanks go to my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. I'm going to go now. Do please join me again next year, maybe, for my look at the 2025 National Album Day. I wonder what theme that'll be. But until then, I'm not going to be away for a whole year. I'm sure some people would like that. But until then, please join me again for my next music-related and record collecting video. Cheers, everyone. See ya!